All right, good morning. It is Monday, May the 12th, 2025. We hope you had a great weekend. In particular, happy Mother's Day, of course, to all the great moms out there. My family, we had a nice, for those of you in Charleston, it was a pretty rainy, kind of a lot of thunderstorms. So, my wife, she just kind of wanted a nice, quiet weekend of, watching some movies, just kind of hanging out as a family. So myself and my kids, we tried to step our games up a little bit in helping around the house with some things we usually don't do. And I think my wife was pretty appreciative. We, of course, so I FaceTime my mom, like my mom, and my grandmother. So we got them on the FaceTime, and of course my kids are in the background wrestling and being loud. It's all that good stuff. But so we happy Mother's Day to the moms out there, and we hope you had a nice weekend. All right. Oh, before I touch on markets, because there's a lot of kind of exciting things going on there, I do want to point out we are exactly 2 weeks from today away from the Client Appreciation Memorial Day Coastal Crust food truck event. We would love to have you there. It's really good food. We've been doing this for a number of years. There's a little, if you haven't been there before, James Island County Park, kind of the area that we rent. There's kind of like this water splash. There's fountains kind of everywhere. So, of course, you're more than welcome to bring your kids, or we have a lot of clients bring grandkids. So come in and hang out for a bit. You definitely don't need to stay for the whole 2.5 hours. Come hang out for an hour, eat some pizza, have the kids or the grandkids run around. Just a nice little lunch, informal day. So we'd love to have you there. We do need RSVPs though, because we need to let the Coastal Crust food truck people know how much pizza to bring, like the fun kind of pizzas for adults, and then of course, for those of you that have RSVP, that's why we're asking. Kids, grandkids, we know that equates to more cheese pizza. All right, so. All right, markets last week. Let's start with the Fed meeting. Okay, so the FOMC Fed meeting, as expected, no change in interest rates. Chairman Powell largely echoed a lot of what we discussed on last Monday's video. Okay, in his defense to not lowering interest rates, he was discussing the GDP report. And just how the number wasn't nearly as bad as the headline number, right? Just given the negative net export component really had a drag on the overall number, like the actual consumption, the number that matters, like consumer spending number looked just fine. So kind of a non-event, truthfully, in terms of the Fed last week. What really is driving markets and into this morning is going to be these trade deals, okay? So most of you likely aware, but it all started with the trade deal between the U.S. and the United Kingdom last week. So that's kind of the first trade deal that got announced. 10% universal tariff remains in place, which I thought was interesting. It sounds like that's going to be kind of like the base for everyone, is what it appears right now. In terms of some other small details, right, in terms of vehicles, right, so it looks like that 10% tariff will be in place on the first 100,000 vehicles, and then after 100,000, that tariff goes up to 25%. Right? There are a number of goods and services that are excluded from the tariffs. We always encourage, if you're interested, go and read the trade deal for yourself. But then over the weekend, and what's really driving markets today, last I looked, pre-markets here in the U.S., equity markets are trading up about 3%. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and his team, sounds like we're getting really close to a deal with China, all right? And even China came in with kind of like a joint statement, kind of agreeing to, and we don't really have details yet. I think we're supposed to get more from Secretary Bessent today. But what we do know is tariffs are temporarily being reduced, all right? So China's reduced, our tariff down to 10%. We have reduced the U.S. We've reduced our reciprocal tariff down to 10%. The 20% fentanyl tariff. So I guess China's at 30%, you could call it, which is obviously a long way down from just last week we're at 145% tariff on China. So that's encouraging, which kind of leads me to the main point I wanted to bring up today from a wealth management perspective. All right, so now that we have a little bit more optimism that some of these deals might get done, should you be more aggressive in your investing now that things are appear more optimistic, and maybe some worst case scenarios are off the table? My answer to that would be no, for the same reason a month ago when things were uncertainty and there was a lot of fear in markets and the volatility index is very high. My answer would have been no to become more conservative during that time as well. All right, because the main point I want to make is it's far better to rather than being reactionary, to proactively have an asset allocation in place that aligns with your financial plan, your retirement plan. All right, and that asset allocation, right, at our office, that's going to look different if you're a professional in your 30s or 40s or 50s. It's going to look different given your tax bracket, right, the tax efficiency of portfolios. It's going to look different if you're a retiree that's withdrawing monthly income out of portfolios. But you want to proactively have that in place so you can implement and you can manage that process to rebalance, to raise cash when you need it ahead of time. All right, this and I get it. There's financial incentive for the financial media, whether it's stock market channels that you see on TV or other media outlets. They have incentives to make you think to the contrary, but I can just tell you, and again, I would encourage you to look up these studies for yourself, but like reactionary trading around headlines, it's a loser's game. It really is. It's a loser's game. You are far better off having a financial plan and an asset allocation in place where you're ready to implement whether things are, you have that plan, whether things are going great or if things are temporarily going poorly, like they inevitably will at times. You need a process in place. So that's the main point for today. This week we get some really important data. So we get April's inflation data, so the CPI, Consumer Price Index, as well as retail sales. So we'll be keeping a close eye on those, which I'm sure we'll bring up next week. So we hope you have a nice week. And again, please, we'd love to see you. So if you can make it to the Memorial Day Client Appreciation event, we hope to see you there. Have a great week. Questions, comments, concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.